Alright, now that we got Stripe installed and we created our Stripe account, let's get started, and in this lecture I'll be showing you how to create a charge. So to get started, we're on Stripe's document website, and this basically gives you an explanation of how Stripe's API works and how to use it. So we'll start by going to the checkout, and let's see, we're going to integrate the checkout. And then what we're going to do is we're going to include this button over here. So let's see, let's open up our index file. And alright, we don't need all this other stuff. Okay. And then of course feel free to save all this code from our previous lecture, but I'm just going to be deleting it and going through Stripe. So let's see, we don't need any of this, and we can just rename this to Stripe. Alright, so to get this button, what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this form over here. So copy that, and then we're going to put it right there. Then, and let's see, EC2. There we go. You can see that the button is showing up on our index page. Okay. And then, of course, when you click on it, it's going to pop up a nice form. You can see that it gives you something to put your email in, card number, and date, and of course the number on the back of the credit card. And you can see pay $9.99. Okay, so now I'm going to explain the code and what it's doing. Alright, so for the form, basically, let's see. Okay, for the action, we can change it to process.php, and then we'll be creating a process.php file later so that we can process the user information. But anyways, it's a form, method is post, and then over here we have some script within this form. So over here, this is what gives it the button, the look, because it has a class of Stripe button, and of course it gets it online. Okay, and then of course this data key here, that's our test key. So you can see that on our account, it's the same key as that. So in your case, it's going to be a different key, but for me, this is what my key is. So you can see that it's PK test, FPG, POL, QMP, and so on and so forth. So something really nice about Stripe is that if you're logged in, then they just fill this out for you. Alright, and then this amount over here is specifying how much to display over here. So it's in cents. So in our case, 999 cents. And of course, if you change it to like maybe 1,000 cents, then it's going to be $10. So you can see that $10. And then of course, we can also just add another zero, make it $100 or 1,000, and so on and so forth. All right. And this over here, data name, that's this over here. So you can change this, and then it can display maybe the product name or your business name or website name or something along those lines. So we can put maybe like my business, something like that. And then this data description over here is describing the item. So maybe you're selling a shirt or something. Shirt. Okay, and then this data image is this image over here, and then this data locale is for the zip code. All right, so if we refresh the page, let's see if the changes are in effect. All right, so you can see it says my business, shirt, email, and so on and so forth. At gmail.com. And then for the card number, because this is in test mode, we can just put 42424242, and then any 3-digit CVC, and then any expiration date in the future. So we can put 42424242, and then it's really nice. You can see that it recognizes it as a Visa, and then we can put to demonstrate, I'm just going to put a wrong date for now. So we're going to pay, and then because the date is wrong and it's not going to allow it, you're going to see that it's not going to give you an error message. So you can see that gives you a nice error message to your users when they try to enter in some information that doesn't work or is not correct. But when you enter in something right, then it's going to process the payment. But that's after we create the process.php form. So if we click pay $100 now, it's not going to do anything until we create a process.php form. All right. So to do that, let's open up our Firefox FTP. We're going to create a new file. We're going to name it process.php. And then in here, let's open that up real quick. We're going to create this charge over here so that it can process the form. So under Stripe's documentation page, under the creating charges tab, we can just copy this bit of code over here, and then it's going to create the charge for us. Oops, we need this over here. Okay, and then we're also going to need the autoload.php file that we have located in our vendor folder. So what we're going to put is we're going to put require once vendor /autoload.php. Alright, and with that, this should be good. And then I'm just going to go briefly over this before we start submitting the page for processing. So, alright, so over here, we're setting our API key. So that would be this key over here. So sktest, fzk, jer, etc., etc. And of course, Stripe has really nice comments that tells you what's going on. So over here, we're setting our key. And then over here, this variable token is equal to the credit card details submitted by the user. And of course, this information does not go through our server. So all user credit card information or anything like that, it doesn't go through our server, and it's sent straight to Stripe server for processing. And none of that payment details even touches our hands. All we get is a token. All right, and then this is what will create the charge. So you can see that the amount is in cents, currency is US dollars, and then here you have the token variable, and then this is basically the credit card details, and then the description is example charge. So it's going to show up as an example charge. All right, so let's give this a go and see what happens. And let's set it to $100, just because in our index file we set the amount to $100. So just because you set the amount here doesn't mean that it's equal over here. You have to set it on both files. All right, so this really determines how the form looks, and then this determines what's going to process for the form. So if you put $10 over here, but your form processes it as $100, then that's not very good for your users. So just make sure you keep it consistent over here. All right. And then let's refresh this page and let's see what happens. Okay. So pay with card, enter any email, card number, we'll use the test card numbers. Okay, and then pay $100. There we go, looking good. And let's see. You can see we're forwarded to process.php. We're not getting any errors. And let's see if we got the payment. Let's see. Oh, it's only set as $10. Let's see. Oh, that's why we forgot to save this page. So let's file, save, and then let's try one more time. Okay, let's try one more time. It should charge. Oops. Okay, let's try one more time, and it should charge $100. So we're gonna put test1@gmail.com 424242. Okay, let's give that one more go. Looking good. Okay. Now, if we go on a dashboard, you can see that we got the amount. So under our payments, you can see that we made 2 transactions. The first one, which we accidentally made for 10 bucks, is there, and then the second one is also there. You can see which email the user entered, the date, and when you click on it, you can see that payment is successful. There's a $3 fee. The description is example charge, same as over here. And of course, down here, we cannot see the information for that card. So we don't have the card number, we don't really have any of the user's details about the card, just where it's from, last 4 digits, expiration date, and nothing else. All right. That looks good. And of course, over here on a dashboard, you can see that the amount is there. Okay. And that is basically how you create a payment using Stripe's API. Alright, so one last thing before we end this lecture is I'm going to show you what else we can do with this API. So say for example, you're not sure that the amount will be this much. Say maybe the user buys one product, maybe the user buys multiple products, and then maybe they have a shopping cart and then they want to check out and you don't know how much to charge their card for all their products. What we can do is we can create a variable, and then you can set that variable equal to maybe like the total amount of the user's purchases. So maybe like 100 plus 2000 or something like that. And then you could put that variable into here, and then that way the amount will be different depending on the user. So it doesn't have to always be this amount. So to demonstrate, let's say we'll put, let's see, this will be like 1,000. All right. So instead of putting this number, what we can do is we can input a variable. We can say amount equals our variable instead of a number. That way it gives us more flexibility with what number we're using. And then by doing that, it's going to charge depending on what the user is purchasing. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. And of course, don't forget to change it on your index file. You have to change it over here too. So what we can do is we can also create a variable over here. And then we can say equals And then over here, we can just put echo var. That way, it gives us a little bit more flexibility with how much we charge our users. And let's try running that and see if it works. So go back to our index page and let's see, pay with card. You can see that it's displaying $1,000. Test1@gmail.com 42424242 and let's see. There we go, and then let's see if that went through. There we go. You can see that this also works and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. That way you don't have to set the amount before you know what the amount is, okay? And in the next lecture, I'm going to be showing you how to refund some payment in case your users bought something and they changed their mind or they don't like your product or something along those lines, okay? But that is it for this lecture. If you have any questions or comments, please post it in discussions and I'll get right back to you. Thank you.